Suppose the length L in feet of runway needed for an airplane to land safely and smoothly is given by the function L is equal to 1500 s squared minus 3s plus 22, where s is the plane's speed in feet per second. If a pilot is landing a Boeing 787-8 airplane on a runway at the Columbia Metropolitan Airport that is approximately 8,600 feet long, what is the maximum speed at which the pilot can land safely? All right, they've given us the function here of L is equal to 1500ths s squared minus 3s plus 22. And they also told us that the length of the runway at the Columbia Metropolitan Airport was 8,600 feet. So we're going to substitute L, or the length, in, which is going to be 8,600. And that's going to be equal to the equation here of 1500 s squared minus 3s plus 22. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this constant because we want to set this equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 8,600 from both sides. When we subtract 8,600 from both sides, we end up with 0 and 1500ths. And I'm going to switch this around so that the 0 is on the other side. 0 and 1500ths s minus 3s. When we subtract 8,600 from 22, we end up with negative 8,578. And remember, I'm switching the 0 over to this end. Alright, so now the next step is to identify our A, our B, and our C. Our A is 1500ths. Our B is negative 3. And our C is negative 8,578. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to sub this information in. Remember, our formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And that's going to be what s is equal to. So s is equal to the opposite of b. B is negative 3. So the opposite of negative 3 is 3. So 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1500ths, and then times c, which is negative 8,578. Alright, and that's going to be multiplied by, or divided by, 2 times a, which is 2 times 1500ths. We now have s is equal to 3 plus or minus the square root of 9. And then we have negative 4 times 1500ths times negative 8,578, which is going to give us a positive 5,146. And 8/10. And then that's going to be divided by 2 times 1500ths, which is 30/100ths. Alright, so in this case, we end up with s is equal to 3 plus or minus the square root of, when we add 9 to this value, we end up with 5,155 and 8/10 divided by 3/10. If we're talking that s is seconds, and we look here at the square root of such a large number, it would be 3 plus the square root of 5,155 and 8/10, and then 3 minus that same square root. Well, the minus would be a large there would be more negative, so that would end up being negative. And we can't have a negative time. So therefore, we can only solve one of these. And the one that we're going to solve is s is equal to 3 plus the square root of 5,155 and 8 tenths divided by 3 tenths. When we add 3 to the square root of 5,155 and 8 tenths, and then divide it by 3 tenths, we end up with a final answer of 249 and 3 tenths feet per second. So that gives us our maximum speed.